Alright people, soldering in your batteries, your battery pack, your motor, and most importantly, your little switch. So essentially the battery pack, we all know what it does. It takes two batteries. Flat side of the battery goes to the spring, pointy side goes to the plate, so they'll be opposites. Make sure they're turned off. Easy as. The only reason we need batteries in here is so we can tell which direction the motor spins. So it may be important for your car. So I'm doing this all out on the table so you can see what's happening, but your motor and that should be in your car by now. So if we separate these wires and connect them to the motor with the battery pack turned on, you should see your motor spinning one of two directions. The right way or the wrong way. If it spins the wrong way, turn the wires around, so swap them over so the power flows in the opposite direction, and your motor will travel in one direction. So this would be good if we didn't want this little switch. This would be everything, but this switch stops the car when it hits a wall. So on one side we're going to need to install that switch. Essentially what this switch does is when it's pressed, it breaks a circuit, which is the same as separating two of these wires. So car runs, and when it hits the wall, that switch creates a virtual gap in there. So this switch, the outside two pins on it, so the far left and the far right, are normally connected until the switch is clicked. So when the switch is clicked, it won't pass the power. When it let go, it works. So it doesn't matter which side you put this switch in, being the red lead or the black lead, as long as the switch is part of the circuit, you'll be able to do exactly what you want. So when the switch gets pressed, it disconnects the power. So two of these wires need to be soldered directly together. Again, make sure you've got the directions sorted out properly. And for soldering wires together, we need to use this lovely stuff called heat shrink. So I'm going to use a nice brown piece, and you only need a piece about twice as long as the joint you're going to make. So I normally go for about 20 millimeters of heat shrink. It's more than enough. We put it onto one of the wires, right out of the way. If it's too close to the end when you do soldering, it'll probably get hot and shrink before you're ready. Once it's on there, strip the wires and join them just like we've done before. Twist each end of the wires so they're really, really nice. No loose frayed pieces. This is starting to become important because if your joint is too frayed, you're gonna have a really tough time getting the heat shrink over. If the wires don't listen to you, keep twisting them until they comply. Once your wires are compliant, like that, soldering iron, wipe the tip, clean it on the sponge, tap a little solder onto the end, solder goes iron underneath, solder from the top, and the wire's connected. Then, once it cools, just slide the heat shrink over the joint into about the middle, grab a nice heat gun, and use it on the low setting, about about 10 centimeters away, just until it shrinks, and you'll see pretty quickly it shrinks to size. Now that's the only heat shrink required in my car because these other two wires are long enough. And to solder onto the switch, we simply clean the soldering iron, apply a little bit of solder to each pin so they're nice and glossy, apply some solder to each wire, and once it is all soldered, we just put the wire on the pin, tap the heat on, and it will quickly set. Same for the other side. Get the wire, I better turn it off first. Camera on, comply. Hold the wire in location, tap it with soldering iron, and this is my completed circuit. Turn it on at the battery pack and off it goes. Whenever this switch is bumped, it breaks the circuit, car stops. And that is all you need to get your car mobile.